This is the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw. Join the conversation on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Phuket Live Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Phuket News Hour. Tim Shaw here. Some of the stories making news. Confirmation that the flaperon found off Le Réunion Island is definitely from Malaysia flight MH370 or crossed to Kuala Lumpur, in the statement by the Malaysian Prime Minister. Multiple entry visas for tourists, a great tourism initiative, according to the Sports and Tourism Minister. That story in the Bangkok Post. A newborn baby, found in a Beijing toilet, an extraordinary story from CNN. And 70 years on, the 6th of August 1945, the day that the world ended for many tens of thousands of people in Hiroshima, when the Enola Gay dropped the first atom bomb that brought an end to Japan's involvement in the Second World War. This is the Phuket News Hour, brought to you by the Kids Club Phuket. We keep you up to date with all the stories making news locally, nationally and around the world. Stay tuned here on Live 89.5, the Phuket News Hour, brought to you by the Kids Club Phuket.
The news you need to know. This is the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw.
In news today, the Malaysian Prime Minister has left absolutely no room for doubt. The piece of a plane wing that washed up on the Réunion Island in the Indian Ocean, he announced, was indeed part of missing Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. Let's cross now to KL for that report from CNN.
On 29th July, we were informed by the French authorities that part of an aircraft wing had been found on Réunion, the French island in the Indian Ocean. Today, 515 days since the plane disappeared, it is with a very heavy heart that I must tell you that an international team of experts have conclusively confirmed that the aircraft debris found on Réunion Island is indeed from MH370. We now have physical evidence that, as I announced on 24th March last year, flight MH370 tragically ended in the southern Indian Ocean.
That was Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak fundamentally saying that in his government's opinion, the information now provided absolutely proves that the flaperon has now been identified as coming off Malaysian flight MH370. As many people have remarked on this news, this does not bring any form of closure to the reasons why this aircraft flew in and down into the Southern Ocean and into that area. There is going to be now enormous research and continued searching for more parts of the aircraft. But just repeating that the Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak has now announced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there is no room left for doubt that the flaperon found on Le Réunion Island is part of the missing Malaysia flight MH370. More news on the way.
Missed something? No problem. Listen to the Phuket News Hour any time of the day. Programs posted daily on the phuketnews.com/radio and on our Facebook page, Phuket Live Radio.
Checking some of the stories making news in the ASEAN region, we go to Bangkok, and the Tourism and Sports Ministry and tourism operators have hailed the approval of multiple entry visas effective for 6 months as a measure that will help to attract more tourists to the country. The ministerial regulation under the Immigration Act of 1979 has been approved by the Prime Minister of Thailand, Prayut Chan-o-cha, and it's going to allow tourists to get a visa enabling them to make multiple entries into the Kingdom of Thailand during a 6-month period. The multiple entry visa costs 5,000 baht, while a visa for a single entry is 1,000 baht. The Sports and Tourism Minister said that the multiple visa was a new measure to boost tourism as more tourists will visit the country. They're targeting 29 million visits to the Kingdom this year, and noting that this actual approval by Cabinet needs to be ratified and will be done so in the next 60 days. But a multiple visa, a trade boon, says operators of tourism, and that's according to the story in the Bangkok Post today. Staying with the Bangkok Post, the Thai Baht has slipped to its lowest point in 6 years, exactly the right result in the eyes of the Bank of Thailand, which again left interest rates unchanged. The Rohingya Muslims have no allies or friends. They are totally dispossessed by the country in which they live and by the countries around them. The United Nations becomes a talking institution when it comes to people who have no allies, according to a story by PressTV.ir. And the US Secretary of State John Kerry met with the Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak and noted steps taken to address human trafficking, but urged Malaysia to improve law enforcement and victim protection, according to a US State Department official, as reported in Reuters. And students with wide ear piercing and clearly visible tattoos will not be accepted for general study courses at public vocational schools in Bangkok and its outskirts next academic year, according to thenationmultimedia.com. Let's check the foreign currency rates. According to Bangkok Bank, $1 will buy you 34.01 baht, one Great British pound, 54.01 baht, Singapore dollar, 24.99. The Australian dollar has climbed 25.12 baht to the Australian dollar. That's just some of the stories making news in the ASEAN region. This is the Phuket News Hour. More news on the way.
Your daily news fix, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Only on Live 89.5.
The Kids Club Phuket are the proud sponsors of the Phuket News Hour. This is the perfect place where kids can let their hair down and have a great time. It's located on the second floor promenade opposite the Jung Salong shopping centre. There's underground parking. The kids can have a fantastic time while mum, dad have a kid-free meal, go and do the shopping, have a massage, get your nails done, girls. Have a fantastic time as much as the kids will at the Kids Club Phuket. If you want to know more, call them on 076 341 310, thekidsclubphuket.com. Open 7 days a week. Check them out, facebook.com, The Kids Club Phuket, and great party suppliers too, facebook.com, TKC Party Supplies. What more do you need to know? The kids are going to have a ball at the Kids Club Phuket, proud sponsors of the Phuket News Hour.
Your daily news fix, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Only on Live 89.5.
CNN from Beijing is reporting a very disturbing story. Police are presently searching for the mother of a newborn baby girl found wedged face down in a Beijing toilet on Sunday. Now, residents heard cries from this public toilet block, notified the police, and according to the local police chief, quote, "The baby's head was upside down, her body was falling into the drain. We could only vaguely see her feet from the other side." This story an indictment on the challenges facing communities all over the world. Let's cross to CNN for this report.
No child should come into the world like this. Pulled from a public toilet by a Beijing police officer. Neighbors called when they heard the newborn crying. Wrapped in a blanket, she's safe. Her mother, gone. I think it's brutal for a mother to do this, says Sun Won Guo, who cleans the toilets. He says a young woman walked out alone just minutes before neighbors heard the crying. She was acting normally, he says. Thousands of people live in this hutong, one of countless back alleys in the Chinese capital. Nobody recognized the woman, who left before police arrived. When the breeze blows through these narrow back alleys, especially on hot summer days like this, it carries with it the stench from the single public restroom that pretty much everyone here shares. And when you step inside, it really hits you. The smell, the heat is that much more intense. And you look at these holes in the ground and think, this is where a little girl, a baby, came into the world. A migrant construction worker from eastern China heard his neighbors calling for help.
It's right over here.
He followed police into the toilet, pulled out his phone, and started recording. He asked us not to show his face. I feel so torn and sad, he says. Words can't describe it. How could something like this happen? Parents abandon thousands of babies each year in China. Children left in trash bins or toilets are the rare, worst cases.
That report from Will Ripley in Beijing for CNN. Just an extraordinary, extraordinary story. And the reality is that in Western society, in many societies, there is provision for a baby to be delivered to a hospital through a chute. They were talking about doing that in the Kingdom of Thailand, where mothers in trouble could actually ensure that their babies are cared for. We'll keep following that and other stories regarding child abandonment in the ASEAN region. This is the Phuket News Hour. More news on the way.
The stuff you need to know. 60 minutes of news on the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw.
That day, the 6th of August 1945, when the US Air Force dropped from the Enola Gay aircraft a B-29 bomber, an atomic bomb that landed on the city of Hiroshima at 8:15 in the morning, the 6th of August 1945. 70 years on, the people of Japan reflect and the world reflects on that act that brought an end to Japan's involvement in the Second World War. Shinzo Abe, the Japanese president, dignitaries and the people of Japan have reflected on this 70th anniversary. Matthew Carney from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation happened upon a group of high school girls who were recording the remarkable stories of survival of men and women 70 years ago. This report from the ABC 7:30 report on the documentation of the stories of the survivors.
A real picture of what happened on that horrific day 70 years ago.
We persuade them by telling them it's important to leave survivors' testimonies to fulfill our wishes that the atomic bombing should never happen again.
So far, the girls have collected 30 interviews and they get access because they're part of the community. Today, sisters 90-year-old Teriko Niwaki and 88-year-old Setsumi Takabayashi will talk about their experiences for the first time. And they've only agreed to do the interview because Teriko's great-granddaughter Momoka will be asking the questions.
Where and what were you doing at 8:15 a.m. on August 6, 1945?
I saw a plane come from the mountains and pass, and then bang! It blasted and it was terrible. I couldn't see anything because of the blinding light. I fell down.
The atomic bomb detonated about 580 metres above the city, and within a second, temperatures reached 3,000 degrees Celsius. 45,000 people were instantly killed. The shockwave and firestorms that followed destroyed most of the city. By year's end, 140,000 people had died of burns and radiation.
An extraordinary story by Matthew Carney for the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. These high school girls talking to the survivors of that A-bomb dropping on Hiroshima, and from their own high school, 1,000 girls that day, the 6th of August 1945, 700 survived, 300 lost their lives. This is the Phuket News Hour, marking the 70th anniversary of the dropping of the atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima that brought an end to Japan's involvement in the Second World War.
Today's important stories and the island's best music. This is the Phuket News Hour with Tim Shaw.
Thank you for your company here on the Phuket News Hour. This program produced and presented by Tim Shaw using the resources of CNN, the BBC, Voice of America, the Phuket News Centre and the World Wide Web. Don't forget, you can catch the program highlights. We're now posting those on YouTube. You can go to phuketliveradio.com. You can check out and give us feedback on facebook.com Phuket Live Radio or facebook.com The Phuket News. Until we meet again, have a great remainder of the day. This has been the Phuket News Hour, brought to you by the Kids Club Phuket.